Tomorrow, of course, is Veterans Day. And we are absolutely extending our heartfelt thanks to those who fought and died for the freedoms that we voted to maintain last week for another 4 years. And so, for those of you who voted, and I'm assuming almost everybody in this crowd voted, thank you for making sure that we continue to be moving hearts and minds in the right direction, hopefully, and away from some of the craziness that we have recently experienced. Okay, so because it's Veterans Day, it is likely to see light trading tomorrow. We're also going to not see a bond market. Banks and the post office are closed. So, things are a little off tomorrow. Government offices, lots of employees are, not working. Typically, these kind of days, you get light trading. And then the pre-market right now is up and Bitcoin is going crazy. So we'll look at those things in just a few minutes. All right, this is from Bloomberg today, and this is super interesting. Since Donald Trump's election win, the hedge funds clinging onto bets against Tesla have lost billions of dollars as they feel the fallout of the special relationship between the president-elect and Elon Musk. Hedge funds that had short positions against Tesla between election day and Friday's close took on a paper hit of at least $5.2 billion, according to Bloomberg's calculations. They were among a shrinking group caught out as many of their peers had already unwound their bets against Tesla over the past 4 months, according to other data that was provided by Hazeltree Tracking. Their adjustments of positions coincided with Musk's endorsement of Trump on July 13th. The Tesla chief executive officer has emerged as Trump's biggest billionaire fan. Musk had used this position as the world's richest person for turbocharging Trump's campaign, making him one of the biggest donors of the 2024 election. Throwing his lot in with the president-elect now lines Musk up for a position of political influence as Trump makes clear he's planning to reward loyalists. And of course, the financial impact of Elon's donations were nothing, not even a smidgen, compared to the time that he put in. His time is worth, I forget, I figured it out years ago. It's like millions of dollars per hour. So the time that he provided was way more important than the money. And definitely in terms of what he accomplished during those hours that he did participate. Goes on to say, Per Lekander, that's his name. The guy's name is P-E-R, Lekander, CEO of hedge fund manager Clean Energy Transition, says he had a small short on Tesla heading into the election. He'd managed to whittle the position down quite a lot, meaning his losses end up being pretty small. But he says, we had some money still there. And since the November 5 election, Tesla shares have gained close to 30%, representing an over $200 billion in additional market value. Against that backdrop, hedge funds that have previously built short bets against the company rushed to reverse course. As of November 6, only 7% of hedge funds were net short Tesla. That is down from 17% in early July, according to weekly data by Hazeltree again. That said, only 8% are net long in the stock. How about that? Tesla has proved a dangerous stock to short, even as the rest of the EV industry struggles with headwinds spanning trade tensions, flagging consumer demand for other than Tesla, and increased competition. In July, almost 1/5 of hedge funds tracked by Hazeltree had built bets against Tesla, only to be badly wrong-footed after the company unveiled sales figures that triggered a steep rally. The wider EV sector, meanwhile, has lost more than 12% this year based on the performance of the Crane Shares electric vehicles listing and the Future Mobility Index. That follows a roughly 9% decline in 2023. By contrast, Tesla is up 30% in 2024 after more than doubling its value last year. Yeah, it's up 30% in 2024, finally. Yeah, we already know that. And it was all last week. Last week is the 30%. Tesla's performance also stands out in contrast to other stocks in the green sector. As markets digested the news of the Trump victory, renewable stocks spanning wind to solar started to tank amid fears that Trump will live up to his promises to slash clean energy incentives. Yeah, I think that's going to happen, and I think that's probably the right thing to do. It would be to cut positions or to think that those companies are going to be harmed. But the reality is that solar combined with battery is less expensive without the incentives. So particular solar and battery and nuclear, I think, also is going to be where we're going. But you've heard me say that before. Lackender says that in a little over a year from now, he expects even Tesla will feel the sting of Trump's anti-climate policies. Not a chance. Notwithstanding the connection between the president-elect and Musk, Trump's win is very negative for Tesla as an auto company. We hear other people saying this. It'll eliminate a lot of the subsidies which Tesla has really been winning on. Elon Musk doesn't want the subsidies. He said all along he doesn't want the subsidies. He repeated that. I think yesterday or the day before, he says, I don't want the subsidies. We want all the subsidies, oil subsidies, all subsidies to go away. Doesn't want them for Tesla either. And I do believe that, as I mentioned this morning in a video and talked about all day today on X, I think that Elon Musk will be selling. I don't know, selling, is that a kind word? He will be convincing. He will be sharing his vision, his mission statement with his new buddy, the president of the United States. And guess what? I think he'll probably convince him that his vision is wise and smart and it's the right direction. And then Trump can bully pulpit it from there. That's what all we're looking for. We're just looking for him to be on board, included in his vision. Musk has lobbied for a role in the Trump administration that would allow him to cut what he characterizes as government bureaucracy and waste. What he characterizes as government bureaucracy and waste. I had somebody today, well, you don't want to cut government when you're landing, when the airplane is landing, and you want the, federal, whatever it's called, FAA, you want the FAA to be, and I just responded, I said, are you telling me you don't think there's any federal waste and lack of efficiency or fraud involved with the government? Well, okay, I think so. I think there is. Anyway, that's what I think. Musk's position of influence now is sort of a bridge between arguably the tech community and Washington, said Edward Lee's portfolio manager at BNP Paribas. Anyway, asset management. Lee says that he's held Tesla at various points without elaborating on his current position. So, this is all this is great talk. Some of the other articles that are out there right now do talk about Elon Musk and his potential influence with regard to regulation of the AI side of things. And I think, once again, I think that's an extremely good thing. Let me know in the comments whether you agree. Gary Black added another part of that Bloomberg article, which had not been included before. Says Musk, who publicly threw his support behind Trump after the then presidential candidate survived an assassination attempt in July, has seen his own future soar in connection with the election outcome. In the days following the election, Tesla's stock price surged, adding $50 billion to Elon's net worth. This is from our buddy Rains 1220. He says there are 3 undeniable laws that you need to know if you are investing in Tesla. These are good. Number 1, according to Elon Musk, anyone relying on LiDAR is doomed. That's what Elon Musk says. You bet against Elon? Number 2, according to the 100 observed improvement so far in FSD and the 1,000 times projection stated by 𝐒𝐿𝐿US that's his handle on X. During the earnings call, we expect FSD to improve 2 times every single month. And a lot of the stuff that we're getting right now in terms of people that are driving it and putting videos up sounds like these improvements are continuing to go along quite nicely. Thank you. And then according to Andrei Karpathy, every time you diversify away from Tesla, you are essentially losing money. And by the way, I know that I've told you that most of our assets are in real estate, and then a bunch more because of our age. A lot more of our real estate are in very safe things like T-bills and whatnot. But we have decided to move another bunch out of those safe funds into some funds over into the Tesla side. So I will be increasing my position. That doesn't mean that you should. And it's not a lot of money. I'm only moving money that I can definitely afford to lose. But I think we're talking about 5 timing it or 10 timing it in the next year or two. Anyway, this is from Sawyer Merritt. He says Cybercab has the biggest screen Tesla has ever put in a vehicle. How about that? I suspected this might be true, but it's nice to hear about it. The Model 3 and Y have a 15-inch screen. The Model S and X have a 17. Cybertruck has an 18.5. And now the Cybercab, the Cybercab, assuming it stays this way. Anything could change between now and a year from summer, but it's a 21-inch on the current version. All right, so what do we have coming up this week? Well, we have some pretty important stuff. First of all, nothing on Monday again because it's Veterans Day. And then on Tuesday, right away, Tuesday morning, I will get my fun day, my NFIB Optimism Index. And I'm going to guess that there might have been a little change in optimism because people might have been looking forward to a possible Trump victory by the time they were doing this. This is fairly close. This is a survey, and the survey information is gathered fairly close to when it comes out. So we might be seeing some results from that. It'd be interesting to see what happens. But in general, small business has not been happy, and that's been one of the things that the mainstream media and the liberals and the people that are ivory towerized, they didn't get it. They didn't understand that people under 100,000 in income and people that are in small businesses were suffering, and it was not good. This is one of the reasons they lost the election, quite frankly. It might be one of the biggest because they didn't recognize it. Or if they did, they ignored it to their peril. All right, then we've got a bunch of Fed people talking. Christopher Waller's talking. Tom Barkin is talking. Patrick Harker is talking. Those are all three on Tuesday. Then Wednesday, well, I said the other day, maybe you were watching, and Larry Goldberg agreed with me. The Fed is now irrelevant. Well, okay, not completely irrelevant, but basically at this point, we're all going to be looking at what is Trump going to do? Who's he going to assign? Who's going to appoint? Who's going to be confirmed by the Senate? Who's the team going to be? What actions are actually going to be taken that he can take, right away, just within regulations or by executive orders? What are the things he can do? How are all those things going to impact the economy? What does the stock market and the bond market and the banks, what are all of them thinking in terms of how that's going to impact business? That is going to be way more on everybody's mind right now, at least for the next 3 months. And I don't think people are going to care very much whether the Fed lowers or not in December, or I think the next one is maybe early February. I didn't look, so I'm not 100% sure. However, having said that, I think we should still pay attention to the Consumer Price Index, and that'll be out on Wednesday. So we got the Consumer Price Index expected to be flat at 0.2%. The year over year to be almost flat, up a tad from 2.4 to 2.5. That would not be good. You don't want to see it going up. But then you get to the core, and that one was at 0.3 last time. They're expecting the core to be at 0.3 again, and that is too high. And that would typically mean that the Fed would not be cutting. So here we go. And then you have the core year over year expected to be flat at 3.3, staying at 3.3. We'll see what happens on Wednesday, but this would not necessarily be good news for those who care whether the Fed cuts. Right now, the bond market is more important in terms of interest rates than the Fed is. The Fed is cutting, and it's not going to impact very much in terms of how people can borrow. It's not affecting mortgages, et cetera. What's impacting that is the bond market, and it's staying up there. 4.5%, 5%, depending on the time. Then we got a bunch more Fed presidents and whatnot speaking. John Williams on Wednesday. Lori Logan speaks. Alberto Mussolem speaks. Jeff Schmid speaks. So that's what happens all the rest of the day. And then late that night, or late that afternoon, 2:00, we get the U.S. federal budget, which was showing what does this even mean? Up $67 billion last time, I guess. What is this? Up, down? What does this even mean? I'm sorry, I didn't look this up because. All right, so It's showing 259 billion, but it's not, oh, it's negative. I'm sorry. Okay, I get it. I'm sorry. I figured it out. So there was a negative 67 billion, which wasn't that bad last month, but this month it's showing negative 259, which would be, not good. And that's what we've elected Trump and Musk and Vivek. I say Vivek, you say Vivek. I think it's Vivek seems to be the correct pronunciation. Anyway, that's what that's their assignment. They need to go in there and get rid of that deficit. All right. So then on Thursday, more Federal Reserve, Adrian Kugler, and then we get initial jobless claims coming in as usual. And last month, that was 221. They're expecting that to pop up a bit to 225, still well within a range that people will be okay with. Then the producer price index last month was 0. I think it's been 0 maybe for a couple of months in a row. Anyway, total year over year headline number 1.8 last month. I'm sorry. They're expecting the headline number to go up 0.2 month over month. The year over year last month was 1.8, which is a good number. They're not giving us an expectation on that. Last month, the core was only up 0.1%. And that was fine, but again, no prediction there. And the core PPI year over year, 3.2% last month, which is still way too high. And that number is also not being predicted. So we'll see what happens on that. Then the Chairman Powell will speak that afternoon, and John Williams speaks again on Thursday afternoon. On Friday, we get the import price list. Import price index. Last month, that went up quite a lot. And people were like, yeah, we kind of figured it would. But then it went up 0.4, but this month they're thinking it's only going to go up 0.1. So what changed? I don't know what would have changed with regard to import pricing that would make this number their expectation. Import price index minus fuel, that is expected. Actually, they're not giving us a number, but last month it was only up 0.1%. I'm sorry, those prices were down. So I'm sorry that I misread that. Last month, the import price index was down 0.4%. And this month, they're only expected to be down 0.1%. That might make more sense. Okay. And then without fuel, last month it was up actually 0.1, and this month they're not giving us a number. They're of an expectation. The Empire State Manufacturing Survey comes out on Friday as well. Last month that was down 11.9. This month they're expecting it to be flat, not up, not down. Then U.S. retail sales come out after that, expected to be up 0.3 after being up 0.4 last month. And then taking autos out of it, last month it was up 0.5, and this time they're thinking it'll only be up 0.3, which would still be fine. Those are all good numbers if you want the economy to grow. And I think that's what the market's going to want now. I think they're okay to let the inflation problem hang out where it is right now, and let's just get the economy growing again. Industrial production last month was it was down 0.3. And this month they're expecting to be down 0.2, continuing along with that manufacturing, the recession, at least long-term 2-year recession in industrial production. Capacity utilization has been at 77.5 last month. They're expecting that actually to reduce to 77.3. Might be partially due to Boeing in terms of capacity utilization, not sure. Business inventories, 0.3 up last month, expecting to be up only 0.2 this month, which would be odd. I would expect the October number. Oh, these are September numbers. They're just super far behind. So yeah, next month's I would expect to be up in anticipation of Christmas. John Williams delivers more remarks, and that's the end of that in terms of Friday. That's all we're going to see. All right, then we got the markets. Again, there's no bond market, so we're not able to look at that. We're also not able to look at specific, like Tesla's pre-market. There's no pre-market till tomorrow morning on Sundays. So what we're looking at here is the Dow is up 28 or 0.06, S&P up 7.75 or 0.13, and the NASDAQ up 46.5 or 0.22. So that gives us, unless something happens overnight, one might anticipate that we're going to have a follow-on, a continuation of this bull market next week. We've got oil sitting down a tad, call it unchanged, basically, $70.31. They're saying that the hurricane season is over, so that's part of it. And then the China stimulus, China put in this $1.7 billion. I think that's all it was, $1.7 billion stimulus package. And markets were not happy with that. The oil market is assuming that it's not going to have much impact on oil prices. Natural gas up a little bit again. Oh, a little bit. Oh, yeah. In the pre-market, only up 5.62% at $2.80, almost $2.82. We might be going over $3. Watch out for your home heating bill this winter. Okay. So I guess some of you I've had my heater on a couple of times. Gold down a tiny bit, down 280 at 2,692. Silver has popped back up again, 0.18, sitting at 31.5. Copper up 0.5% at 4.32. And here you go then. Here's the one. We've got crypto up 4,247, sitting at 80,606. There you go. So, and all of the cryptos are definitely up. By the way, if you didn't see that video I did the other day on Bitcoin with CERN Batcher, you should have watched that. Go back and find it. It's in the list of videos there that you can look up on my video page, my YouTube page. We've got the dollar unchanged basically in the pre-market. And then I already gave you the stocks, the equities. All right. So this morning I put together a video where I talked about, basically, I asked the question, how does Elon Musk see the transition over the next 5 years from ICE to BEVs? How does he see the transition from human driving to autonomous driving? And I don't mean how does he see it from the standpoint of Tesla. We know what that is. He's just going to go as fast as he can to produce as many cars as he can and get people to buy FSD or to buy robocabs or put robocabs out himself. So all that is going to happen. But what does that mean for everybody else? We've got the Volkswagens and the GMs and the Fords and the Toyotas and go on and on and on. And so what I did this morning was I looked at those because I was really thinking all these other guys would be on board by now, and they're not. So the question is, how can they get on board fast enough? Because they're a half a decade, maybe a decade behind Elon on virtually every technical aspect of building a car or building autonomy. They have no chance of catching up. So how does this work? How Tesla all by themselves with self-driving electric vehicles and everybody else is just going to not sell cars? What's going to happen? And maybe they'll start coming to Elon and setting up licensing or something. But anyway, I asked the question in great detail. I think it was very well received on X. So check it out, see what you think. I'll put the card up right there. Other than that, tomorrow morning, it'll be, as far as I know, Brian White in the morning and Larry Goldberg at night, just like usual. The middle of the day, Brian White's the middle of the day. And of course, the normal after the bell in the morning. All right. So I'm hoping you're having a great weekend and that your teams are winning. So our team, well, maybe not your team, my team, and many of you who follow this channel, our team won last week. So I don't care who wins today, quite frankly. It's been great talking to you.